This is Pocket Watching with JT, the call-in financial talk show focused on helping you get your money right. Jason Thornton is a certified financial planner, licensed in both tax and investments. Now, this is not personal financial advice. This is JT's real reaction to all your money and business questions. Are you deep in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and looking for a way out? Call Pocket Watching with JT, the financial advisor for the people. Need more? Book your personal consultation with my man JT at PocketWatcher.net. Now, let's go Pocket Watching.
Hey, Pocket Watchers, welcome to Pocket Watching with JT. I am certified financial planner Jason Thornton. That means I am a real financial advisor. I do not just play one on the internet. I am a financial advisor that specializes in tax and wealth planning for my clients. But on YouTube, I react to your money questions and scammer news. Now, before we get started tonight, I got to give a big shout out to all of my moderators, all of my subs. I just want to say thank you to the Pocket Watchers. Listen, we are about 1,400 subs away from the 100K club. So do me a favor, hit the like button, share this content. If you have not subscribed already, go ahead and join the party so we can get to 100K. All right, so let's get straight into it. What are we talking about tonight? All right, what are we talking about tonight? So tonight we are going to talk about the Property Brothers. Now, I have done videos and content on both of these characters. And big shout out to Tony the Closer Robinson and Eli from What Happened to Common Sense. They brought me both of these stories. They brought me the story of DJ Envy and Cesar Pina, and they brought me the story of Greg Big Business Parker. All right. Now, the other day, I was really looking back at the content that I did on both of these characters. Then I noticed something. There was a lot of similarities between Cesar and Greg. I mean, so many similarities that it made me feel as if these guys may be related somehow, some way down the line. It looks as if these guys are related because they've done so many similar things. Their lives, right? Their very lives have followed a very similar path. So I'm going to show you guys this video to refresh your memory. And then when we come back, we'll have a little conversation.
The Breakfast Club introduced Cesar. On October 15, 2018, The Breakfast Club introduced Cesar Pina, a relatively unknown real estate investor in New Jersey, onto the show as a featured guest. Recent lawsuits have been filed against Cesar and DJ Envy, alleging a Ponzi-like investment scheme that has taken millions from investors. It all started with this interview.
We got a special guest in the building. You might know him on Instagram as Flippin' NJ, my friend Cesar Pina.
5 years later, numerous customers alleged they were defrauded by Cesar. Over the past 5 years, DJ Envy has promoted Cesar as a real estate expert and trustworthy source for learning the game.
What up, y'all? It's DJ Envy.
Flippin' NJ.
DJ Envy and Cesar's partnership seemed innocent until Tony the Closer began receiving messages about investors giving the two money and not receiving any money back.
You have a criminal record, but your criminal record actually got you into this business.
Credit card scams, right? Credit card scams.
Yeah, so before that, from the age of 16 on, I was selling drugs. Back then, I thought nothing was going to happen. It was a white-collar crime, and I've done so much other things worse than that, right? At that point, I'm like, oh, this is nothing.
So many people were like, yo, don't mess with him. He's a con. He's a felon. He's a criminal. He's a this, he's a that. You know, don't mess with him.
DJ Envy's longtime business partner has been arrested by federal agents in New Jersey. Cesar Pina has been charged with fraud. Investigative reporter Sarah Wallace has been all over the story. She has the latest from federal court in Newark.
Cesar Pina arrested by the feds this morning on a charge of wire fraud and brought here to the federal courthouse in Newark. They say this may be just the beginning. He could face additional charges of money laundering.
You might know him on Instagram as Flippin' NJ, my friend Cesar Pina.
DJ Envy often had his pal, Cesar Pina, on the radio hosts The Breakfast Club show.
Started with no money, and here I am, $50 million later in real estate.
Promoting their real estate partnership. Now, in this federal complaint, the government says Pina engaged in a Ponzi-like scheme involving investors, adding Pina defrauded dozens of victims of millions of dollars. We interviewed many of them.
I lost $200,000.
$835,000 in total.
I lost a total of $64,000.
I lost $1 million.
Envy, whose real name is Rashawn Casey, was not charged, but many of the alleged victims say they were influenced by his celebrity.
He's advertising this all over the radio and on television.
Investors say Pina promised he would rehab and flip distressed properties, many in Patterson, giving a 30% profit within months. Dozens have now filed lawsuits saying they never got any of their investment back. Pina is accused of pocketing $17 million from just 4 properties. Pina pleaded not guilty. He has to post a $1 million bond and is being released on electronic monitoring. He cannot leave the state of New Jersey. No comment from DJ Envy. An inside source tells us that the iHeartRadio offices were visited by the feds who took out electronic equipment as part of this investigation. From Newark, Sarah Wallace, News 4 New York.
All right, so that was property brother number 1. Property brother number 1, Cesar Pina. Now, let me introduce you to property brother number 2.
You saying you got exposed to hustling, so you know what I mean? When did you transition?
What you mean, for us stop hustling, or when did I get into it? Well, I got into it in high school.
Getting out of it.
You know, my friends, you know, they was hustling, you know, in Jersey, and the things that they had access to, I would kind of sort of be able to get a better number,
right,
for say, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then the reality of it is, like, that went from, you know, weed is bulky, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That went from weed to selling cocaine, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then from that to, you know, cracks, and then, you know, elevating in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to do something different, and I knew that real estate was it, because all my old heads used to say, man, you better do something with that money, man. You better buy some properties.
Mm-hmm.
But they really didn't know what to do.
Right.
They knew that it was in real estate, but they didn't know how.
Right.
Who are we dealing with?
Big Business. His name is Greg Parker, but he goes by the name of Big Business.
Greg is a defendant in at least 5 lawsuits involving the RICO Act. RICO Enterprise used defendant Greg Parker's perceived status as a real estate mogul in a You Can Do It Too educational scheme that was in fact a front used to induce students into purchasing real estate properties from the RICO Enterprise.
Well, for starters, he told him that he was actually going to be doing basically a full service real estate transaction, meaning he would go find the property for him, he would do the construction work, and then he would do the property management on the back end. So people were basically getting like this hands-off approach to getting their very first investment property. But what they found out is that he sold them lemon properties and then never did the construction work. So people were getting photos and videos of properties that they were being told were being worked on, but the whole time those properties had never been touched.
However, in reality, the RICO Enterprise, after gaining the trust of its students, accepted sums of finance money for down payment on properties that either were non-existent or the RICO Enterprise were not authorized to sell.
The property is on a crazy looking block, and it's like literally like in the middle of like the construction. Like it's like everything is getting demoed over there. Like the property is just sitting there on a dusty block. And I'm like, nah. Immediately I call him. He not answering. The windows is not done, and it look like people been sleeping. It's like clothes, is like straight garbage all inside. The building's getting ready to get condemned.
Is this guy raising money through social media? Is he big in a certain community, or is he doing events? How is he raising money?
Yeah, so a multitude of ways. Obviously, very huge Instagram following. He's been on some big TV shows like Love and Hip Hop. He's been endorsed by some big names like Wallow from the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. And what he's done is he started creating live events where he would basically use that as his top of funnel.
What you got coming up?
I got a mastermind in Miami the 5th and 6th of February. They could check the link in my bio.
One of the RICO cases involves a man named Raymond Schaefer who paid $300 to attend one of Greg's investment seminars.
He brings people into these events. They sign up for a mentorship.
Plaintiff Raymond Schaefer enrolled in a one-on-one program with defendant G. Parker Unlimited LLC for an initial fee of $3,500 the program.
Once they sign up for the mentorship, they're then pitched into investment opportunities.
Greg Parker represented that he approved plaintiff for a $30,000 loan for the purchase of a property from Greg Parker's exclusive list, but that plaintiff, Raymond Schaefer, would have to provide the initial $20,000 down payment.
People have sent me addresses which, like you can see, he might have bought the property for $2,000 or $5,000 and then sold it to them for maybe $50,000 to $100,000.
The perfect example is from the Leslie Miles complaint. Leslie Miles paid a $7,000 entry fee to join his real estate rehab program. That gave her the ability to purchase from his exclusive list in East Cleveland, Ohio. She sent $86,000 for a property to be determined. The next day, she sent an additional $14,000, now totaling $100,000. A couple months later, Greg finally bought a property for Leslie at 1818 Hastings Ave in Cleveland, Ohio. I decided to look up the property on the county website and found that the property had a quick claim deed for $1,000 and then the transfer to Greg for $22,000, who then flipped it to the client for $230,000. This is the property according to Google Maps.
And Greg was giving all the investors runaround. So essentially, the minute that he gets the money, he stops responding.
In or around September 2021, 2.5 years after sending Greg the money, while plaintiff was visiting the property, plaintiff learned for the first time that the city of East Cleveland was threatening to demolish the property. In another RICO case, the plaintiff allegedly sent Greg $100,000 for rehabbing a Philadelphia property. Upon information and belief, defendant Diamante Enterprises LLC has used the funds provided by plaintiffs to renovate the subject property. Diamante Financing is Greg's wife's company.
And like the guy, I don't know if you had to do the Greg Parker, Big Business. Yeah, I met him at Zocon.
Yeah.
He like, man, help all these millionaires, man, and I did this and I did that, man. He said he started selling me on like, we could flip in like 10 days. I got houses ready to go. It wasn't no good, man.
No.
Cause man, all the time he'll pick up. So I got you, man, Monday. I got you this day. They're holding my money back from this.
Is that who owe you the $500,000?
Yeah, damn near.
Yo.
Right, man, crazy, man. That was back in like July last year. Man, he told me, like, he said, watch this, man. He said, man, it's gonna take 10 days. He said, man, it's gonna take 10 days. That's what you told me.
I know, bro, but when we listen, it didn't. It took me longer, and I explained it to you. I was letting you know step by step the play. That's why I said, yo, bro, look, let me just give you this big drink, because we could have sold it and you could have cashed. And we wouldn't be here on the phone going back and forth.
But you gotta think, I got zero since I done dealt with you since December.
Bro, it don't work. I can't just give you that kind of money back. I don't have that kind of money just laying around, bro. I gotta make a play. We gotta make a play.
See, man, it was crazy, man. Like, he had excuse every time. Every time, man. Like, that's one thing I want to tell people, man, just be careful who you give your money to. Like.
All right, so at this point, I had to pull up a scoreboard. At this point, they had way too many similarities for it to just be some sort of coincidence, right? I feel like there's some invisible hand moving things, because I just want to show you guys how many similarities there are between Greg and Cesar. Just look at this. So they're both from the New Jersey area. Now, New Jersey, it's not a small place. I mean, so them both being from New Jersey, that's not enough, but it's the start. That's where it starts. They're both from the New Jersey area. Then they are both self-admitted former drug dealers. Both of them, not one, but both. Both openly admit that they were drug dealers. Okay, well, I mean, from New Jersey, they sold drugs. All right, what else could that be? All right, well, they both claim that they went from being drug dealers to real estate investors. All right, well, now it's starting to come down a little bit. What else could there be? They both use social media influencers to tell their rag to riches story. right? They got on social media, big platforms, and they talked about how they started with $5,000 and they ended up with $50 million or some ridiculous number like that. And they were promoted by these platforms. All right, getting a little bit more interested now. They then used their status, big media, social media platforms, to promote cheap real estate seminars. $100, $200, not very expensive, but cheap real estate seminars targeting the Black/urban community. Now, at these seminars, people will tell you they don't really teach any heavy real estate knowledge. It's very basic. How to buy. Here we go. We're back. We're back. All right. Let me click this thing back up. So once again, I mean, these are simple things. These are all things that you would learn with very simple search on YouTube, right? But here comes the con. Here comes the flip, in my opinion. You would go from the real estate seminar, and then they'll tell you basically that investing in real estate can be hard for a beginner. But lucky for you, you can invest with them. See, they have all the industry knowledge and expertise that you need. They can do it all for you. So they say, don't worry about trying to be a real estate investor on your own. No. You can be a real estate investor by simply giving them your money. They will invest your money for you in real estate, and then you will get your returns. Here's the last thing that happens. You end up with a bunch of people who went through the entire process exactly how they said it would work, and they end up claiming that it was a fraud. You have a long list of people who claim, hey, this person defrauded me out of my money. He said that he was going to invest my money in real estate, and turns around, I've got nothing to show for it, right? Now, I'm going to start bringing up callers. There is a link in the chat. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm putting puzzle pieces together where they really don't fit. But when I look at that list of things, it all seems as if these guys are somewhat connected. But before I bring up callers, I got to tell you something. When I was doing my notes for the night, I realized somebody's missing. When I was doing my notes, I was looking at the comparison between Cesar and Greg, and I said, you know what? There's a third property brother. Not simply anybody, but there is an actual big brother that I'm missing. The third property brother that should be in the thumbnail, but I didn't realize it until I was doing my notes. The third property brother is Jay Morrison. Now listen, some of you will say, JT, you got a personal thing against Jay Morrison. You're trying to pull him into this when he does not belong. Maybe. I don't think so, but maybe. But let's follow the logic just for a moment. Let's follow the logic. Now, Jay Morrison, where is he from? New Jersey. All right. Well, that's just one. Jay Morrison is from New Jersey. And he is also a self-admitted ex-drug dealer. Well, that's just two. Let's see if there's anything else. He then went from being a drug dealer to a so-called real estate investor. All right, that's three. What else could there be? Jay Morrison is the OG when it comes to going on social media platforms and telling his rags to riches story. I mean, he was on the Breakfast Club before the Breakfast Club was probably really on YouTube or doing He was on it when it was probably really just the radio. They might have had a little bit of an internet presence, but they were probably mostly radio. He's an OG. All right, well, hold on. Jay Morrison is the OG when it comes to the real estate seminar. So much so, it really shows that Jay Morrison is an innovator. He was the originator because Jay Morrison was so smart that he didn't even waste money on renting a room in the, Red Roof Inn or any type of, no hotel conference rooms. Jay Morrison did corner classes. Some of you may be asking, what is a corner class? Jay Morrison would not book some hotel conference room. Jay Morrison would tell people, meet me at the corner of Martin Luther King and Jay Morrison. Here we go. Jay Morrison also said that real estate investing as an individual is hard. It's not the easiest thing to do. So Jay Morrison had a great idea and say, listen, you don't have to be a real estate investor and do all the hard work that I did. You can use my expertise. You can use all of the hard work that I did over the years, and you can simply give me your money. Just give me your money and I'll invest it for you and I'll get you a return. All right. And just like the other two brothers, you end up with a long line of people claiming that they were defrauded out of their money. So it's not just two property brothers, it's three. The OG Jay Morrison, Cesar Pina, and Greg Parker. Now, what lessons can we learn for this? Because I'm about to bring up callers. What is the lesson that we can learn? Well, if someone's from New Jersey, that's not a red flag. I'm not saying if you're from New Jersey, it's a red flag. We'll set that one off to the side. But if someone claims that they were an ex-drug dealer and they use their drug dealing skill set and their drug dealing knowledge and all of this, and they transform their drug dealing enterprise into real estate, red flag. Red flag. That's a no-go. Don't invest with them. Obviously, it doesn't turn out well. But then after that, okay, this person is now a real estate investor, ex-drug dealer. Now all of a sudden they're popping up on podcasts, all these other social media influencers who do no type of background check. They don't see if this person has any type of red flags in their past. They don't look and see if they're accredited or licensed. They bring them on the show and they promote them to you, the audience. Could be some podcast payola there. Some of them could be paying these platforms to get on the show, or at the very least, they have an affiliate link, meaning when you buy their course, when you buy their mastermind, the host of the show get a cut of the money. Now, JT, why is that so bad? Why is it so bad for a podcast host to have someone on their show, promote this person, allow the person to sell services and products to their audience and take a cut? What's so bad about that? Well, it's not bad if it's advertising. If you make it clear that this person is a sponsor of the show, that's not bad. But it's bad if you make it seem as if this is just your friend, or this is just someone that you want to share with your audience, and there's no disclosure that you're receiving some sort of financial benefit by having the person on the show. That's podcast payola. And lastly, these guys who claim to be some kind of real estate moguls who went from $5,000 to $50 million, ask yourself this question. If they're multi-million-dollar real estate investors, why do they need you? Now, if they're just selling the course, I'm not even a big fan of that. But okay, why do they then upsell you and say, you know what? Why don't you invest with me? Why do they need your $30,000? Why do they need your $50,000, $200,000? Why do they need your money? I thought they were moguls. I thought they were multi-millionaires, damn near billionaires. Why do they need your money? Then after you give them your money, Why is it so hard to get in touch with them? Why is it so hard to try to get your money back? If they're multimillionaires, they're flying around in private jets. They live in million-dollar homes. Why is it so hard to get your $20,000 back? Why does it feel like you're having to shake someone down when they're supposed to be the big dog mogul? Red flags all over the field. Stop. Get out of there. Stop handing your money off to people who are unqualified to be a bank teller. Just think for a second now. Most of these clowns who claim that they can teach you financial literacy, most of these clowns who are selling courses for $9,777.77. Why are these clowns who claim that they can do all of these things in the world of finance unqualified to even be a bank teller? Because they're convicts. They're criminals. They're people who you would never trust with your money in any other capacity. You have to understand when it's time to walk away from the table. You have to understand when it's time to say, you know what? Even though I have aspirations of being rich, I'm not going to allow my aspirations to make me broke because I'm getting scammed by a grifter. All right? All right, so here we go. I want to read these super chats, and then I'm going to bring up the callers. I got some people in the back, so we're going to do this in order. So I just want to give a big shout out to all the supporters. Shout out to Philip. Thank you so much. One of the moderators. Thank you. Thank you. Shouts out to C Fuzz Love. I think that's how that's read. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Shout outs to Lewis Luck. Thank you so much. Thank you. Says Envy said that Cesar learned real estate investing in prison. Do they have the Carlton sheets, VHS tapes? Listen, I'm really gonna hate the thugs and the street dudes right now. I know y'all gonna be upset with me because I'm a cornball. Listen, anytime anyone tells me that they learned something in prison, it always turns out to be the bootleg version of whatever it is. Listen, don't come for me because I got receipts. Don't come for me. I'm going to say this one more time. Anytime someone tells me that they learned something in prison, it always turns out to be the bootleg version of whatever it is. Don't come for me. It's the truth. You can call in and maybe challenge, but I'm telling you, you better come with receipts because I know a lot of the stuff that they learn in prison is the bootleg version of whatever it is. But we'll have a conversation. Shouts out to Jay. Thank you so much. As I have a hard time trusting Tony the closer. He's right about Jay, Cesar, and Greg. But he doesn't seem genuine. His whole positioning is off, not to mention he's a criminal as well. I smell grift, JT. What about you? Listen, I have conversations with Tony probably at least once a week. And I talk to Tony. I have questions for Tony. Me and Tony go back and forth. We have conversations. I can tell you, he doesn't give me the scammer vibe like these other guys do. Tony's super ambitious. Tony has a strong sense of what his brand is, and he does not want anyone coming close to disrespecting what his brand is. Can he be rough? Absolutely. I think his brand is being rough. But scammer, I have not seen that yet. No one has brought me any documentation that shows that he is a scammer. Some say, well, JT, he sells a course. Selling a course isn't the scam. The scam is selling an overpriced course for very little value that you get out of the course. And within the course, you're teaching people how to do things that are fraud, right? We're talking about selling a course to someone, teaching them how to commit bank fraud. Selling a course, teaching people how to do things that could get you locked up. So that's how I look at it. If you're paying for a course that could be college tuition, Like there's people out here who are selling masterminds and courses for $20,000, $30,000. To me, that is a scam. But I haven't got, but listen, my inbox is always open. You guys know that. The inbox is always open. Send me something and I'll review it. Let me see. We got Veda Warrior says, fast money is not it. Slow and steady wins the race every time. But people don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear that. People want money right now. Jay again said, did Tulsa fund some of Cesar's properties? I hope not. I hope not. I hope Jay, being the big brother that he is, Jay Morrison to me is the big property brother out of the group. I feel as if Jay should have been able to smell a rat. He should have recognized a lot of himself in Cesar or Greg, and he would have been smart enough not to invest in any of those projects. We got Low Main Laces says Cesar was selling those $1 houses off of California in downtown St. Louis for $250,000. If you're not from St. Louis, you don't know how funny this is. But yes, they sell $1 houses. Now, those $1 houses, understand, you can't be an investor and buy those $1 houses. You actually have to live in the house. So you buy it for $1, you got to rehab it, you got to live there for, I think, at least a year. And I'm telling you, those properties in that community, most people wasn't going for that. But yeah, Cesar was getting over on people. And apparently Greg Parker was too. I guess Tony is the devil we know, right? Listen, man. Tony, if it was not for Tony, I'll tell you this. If it was not for Tony, a lot of the stories that I've covered in the past, I wouldn't have got. He's provided me a lot of information on a lot of the stories that I got. So shout out to Tony. I appreciate that. We got Christopher Brown says, hey, I teach in prison. Stay real, bro. Listen, I'm happy that people are learning in prison. I'm happy. I'm a supporter of it. But listen, a lot of that prison knowledge, when it comes outside of prison, we recognize that most of it is a little off. It's the bootleg version. And lastly, Jay again said, JT, would you ever do business with Tony the Closer? Well, it depends on what you're talking about. So let me give you an insight with me. I have never done business with anyone in reality, other than probably my father. I have business deals with my father, but my father is like me, so it doesn't really count. I've had several offers to do partnerships with my practice, with my firm, right? A lot of accountants, a lot of financial advisors have come up to me and said, hey, let's join our firms together. Let's do a partnership. Here's the problem. I'm too much of a control freak to do business with anybody. I do things the way I want, when I want. I have a weird sense of values in the point where there's certain things I just don't want to do, regardless if it's legal. If it doesn't match up with the way I'm thinking, I don't do it. And there's no voting, right? There's no votes. This is not a democracy. I run a dictatorship. I do what I think I should be doing, period. So I would never do business with anyone. I can collab with somebody, but as far as business, I do business with no one because I'm too much of a control freak. That's just how I am. All right, so I'm going to bring up these callers. Give me 1 second. I will bring up some callers. I will be right back.
Hey, Pocket Watchers, are you looking for real financial advice? Thornton Advisor Group is here to help. Jayson Thornton, certified financial planner, specializes in tax and wealth planning. Are you living paycheck to paycheck with no retirement plan? Do you need help with the IRS? Book your consultation with Thornton Advisor Group to get a financial plan, budgeting, savings, debt management, tax planning, investing, and retirement, even IRS debt settlements. Stop trying to run the play. Get the advice you need to live your best life from a certified financial planner. Book your consultation appointment today. Go to www.thorntonadvisor.com.
All right, we are back. Hit that link in the chat. You can come on up. It's audio only, so don't worry about camming up. We're going to have a conversation tonight. We have Steven, we have New Jack City, we have Maul, we have Jacob, we have Clove, I think that is, Jonathan, El Malik Shabazz, and Alex. So here we go. Let me bring up Steven. Steven, you're live on the air with Pocket Watching with JT. What's going on?
What's up, JT? How are you?
I'm doing good. You sound a little far away from the phone. Make sure the phone is right up to your mouth. What do you think about the Property Brothers? Am I wrong? It seems like these guys are if they're not blood related, in my mind, they are related by mindset. They are related by the fact that they have the same traits. They're like long lost brothers, all three of them. Jay Morrison being the OG, then Cesar and Greg, because they ran the exact same play, in my opinion.
It would be funny if they were in the exact same prison too. But I agree with you, man. They ran the same play. I mean, they did the same thing, which is ironically, but a lot of these people, they prey on people's they're wanting to be rich. That's what I realized on YouTube, man. There's a lot of these channels on how to get rich quick, how to get money quick, and they're preying on people who really want that American dream, but they don't want to work hard for it. You know, they want a quick fix because of, you know, the society that we live in. It's like a microwave society. We want things now, and we're only seeing everyone's like highlight reel nowadays. So it's crazy. I do have a question for you though, because I'm just wondering why I don't know if it's the SEC or FCC doesn't penalize these guys, because you have to be licensed, from my understanding, to give any type of, you know, financial advice. I don't know if this qualifies, but what do you think about that?
That's a good question. I appreciate you calling in. So yes, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, would be the federal government body that would be over people who give financial advice, right? And financial advice within itself is somewhat chopped up. You have financial advice within the world of tax, where you need a particular license for that. There's financial advice within the world of investments, which you need a particular license for that. Then there's financial advice in general, where you need, you know, you would have a certification for that. But these guys kind of fly under the radar a little bit based on the fact that they claim that they are business coaches and business experts, and they'll say, I'm not a financial advisor and this isn't financial advice, but this is what I do. And a lot of the deals that they get people into, they're like joint venture deals, they're partnership deals, little deals like that. So even though they're kind of advising them on how to invest their money, it's in a partnership deal on real estate that gets them a little outside the range of just giving people financial advice. So there's a lot of gaps within the regulations when it comes to financial advice. And these guys are pretty good at finding the gaps. Now, they bleed over a lot, and I think they step over the line, and the SEC should step up their enforcement. But once again, the SEC is not, I don't want to say they're not as powerful as people think, because they do have a degree of power, but they don't have enough manpower. There's not enough agents within that office to take care of all the things that we think they should be enforcing, because once again, the dollar amounts aren't as high comparative to the multi-billion-dollar scams that they're going after. So it just depends. Let me bring up New Jack City. What's going on, New Jack City?
Nothing much, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for calling in.
All right, JT. Basically, I got two things for you. You ever heard of the French Connection? This is the New
There's a
Jersey
movie, right?
Connection.
French Connection, the movie? Yep.
Yeah, this is the New Jersey Connection now. These guys, oh my God. But it's a shame. I think my other thing that I gotta tell you is I think there's a lot of dirty money involved in a lot of this thing, because these guys, remember, a lot of these guys have already a background in, you know, street dealing, and I think a lot of that stuff eventually is going to boil over. You know, you know that the streets, when you F them up, they just, to make an example out of you, they just pull you away. A lot of people believe that it's only involved in the mafia, stuff like that. But these guys, I think eventually with a lot of this stuff, I think a lot of this stuff is going to boil over and it's going to mature into a lot of these, underground things. Thank you, brother. Have a good night.
Man, no, thank you. That's such a great point. I forgot to even list that as one of the connections for the Property Brothers. Each one of them, all three of them, Jay Morrison, Cesar Pina, and Greg Parker, each one of them have allegations that they were courting, going after, soliciting investments from people who they were aware of were in the drug trade. And one of the advantages in the mind of a scammer, I suppose, one of the advantages of ripping off or scamming someone who's a drug dealer is the fact that they can't go to the police. They're not going to go to the police and say, hey, someone robbed me or scammed me out of $100,000 of money that I made from selling drugs, right? Now, you do fall under the threat of physical harm, but sometimes they can get away with that, especially when they're dealing with people when they're based in Atlanta and this person's in New Jersey and they're a small time thug. Like let's not think that every drug dealer is some sort of mafia kingpin. Like there's drug dealers, street level drug dealers who have $50,000, $100,000 that they want to wash, that they want to get clean. But these guys aren't connected to get a hit out on someone who's 1,000 miles away. They may be able to put a hit out on someone who's 2 blocks down the street. That's one thing. But, if they're like 3 states away, they kind of take that one on the chin. But somebody across the street, they may get at them. So that's a good point. Great point. Great point. All right, let me bring up Jonathan. Jonathan, you are live on the air with Pocket Watching with JT. What's going on?
JT, what's going on, my man? Great work, brother. I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you. Thank you. What do you think about tonight's Property Brothers? Am I off? Or
you off.
Connection?
You off. You off by one, though.
Okay.
You off by one.
Who else?
You forgot about your cease and desist, man. Rabu Gary.
Stop it.
Stop it. That's right. It's 4 of them. He's the OG.
Now, I didn't know he was in real estate. Is he in Rabu Gary's in real estate?
No, but the running the play, the taking the street money, the maneuvering, all of it. He from Jersey, ex-drug dealer, It's just a different angle, but it's the same deal.
Okay. Everything. The second you said Rabu Gary's name, everything lined up. The one thing that wasn't hitting, I was so focused on real estate. I got you, but everything. He's from New Jersey. He made his way on social media platforms. He was on the Breakfast Club. I'm pretty sure he was on $1 million worth of game. He's collecting investment money with his little investor group. Right. And a lot of people say that he gets in and out of different Ponzi schemes. Okay, the one thing is just the real estate. You take the real estate off there. Rabu Gary in that clip.
The biggest play in Jersey for a long time, because I'm from Jersey. I'm from Newark. So like the biggest play in Jersey that for a long time was the pyramid schemes in the churches, where the people would say, listen, you got to get on my board. I got to get a certain amount of people to come in on my board. So then you would go get 10 family members and they would put $100 in, and then they would go get 10 other family members and they would build these boards, and you would get a cash out date. Oh, your cash out is October 1st. And then the next person's cash out is, so it was like a susu, like the West Indians did.
Right.
You know, so they was running that in the churches, big time in Jersey, to the point where they had, listen, it was so big that they had Newark police doing the security.
For the scam. That's like the police officers who be doing security for the flea market where they're selling bootleg items. Like it just.
Brother, listen, there was a church, and I'm not going to name names, but everybody that's from Newark or New York or New Jersey, they know there used to be cash outs. on like Fridays or Thursdays at this one church where people were in these boards and they were $100,000 cash outs.
Get out. If there's $100,000 cash out, imagine what the real pot was. The real pot is probably 10 to 20x because you don't.
That's the whole point. You had to have 10. You had to have 10 lines. You had to have 10 lines.
50%.
No, you had to have 10 lines to get a spot on the board. And then those 10 lines had to create 10 lines. And that next 10 lines had to create 10 lines. So by the time you get to the top of the board, you got 1,000 people under you.
This is ridiculous, man.
Bro, and so this is a Jersey, New York thing. Jay Morrison, don't forget to put your boy Rob Bulgari on there.
Rob Bulgari. Yes, sir. That, you know what? It makes a lot of sense.
Look, he just had the big birthday party, I think a year or so ago. It looks like the Players Ball. All of the guys were there. All of those guys were there at his birthday party.
Stop.
Bro, it's retarded. And the thing is, it's poor people trying to get rich. And they see these guys riding through the neighborhood. They're flossing. They're throwing these big parties. You know, and everybody's watching them on the Breakfast Club. And that gives them validation. That gives them, you know, real clout. This is the same, you know, like Tony was talking about. This is the same show that the president was on. I mean, the vice president was on. So your credibility is now, wait, I can mess with this dude because would he be interviewing the future vice president or the future president on the show?
Right. That's a great point.
So even square guys like yourself and me may have looked at it a little bit like, maybe. But, you know, I'm too square. I live in the woods. I live on a 40-acre farm. I'm too square for that nonsense. I can't do it. I go outside and collect my eggs in the morning. I can't do it. But I love what you do, man. But when you said it, well, you're wrong. I said, yeah, he's wrong. He's missing the Darth Vader of the whole gang.
Yeah, I get. He's selling digital real estate with NFTs. You see the NFTs that he was selling?
The NFT play.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Listen, bro, I appreciate it. I got these other callers, but thanks for calling in. I appreciate you, man. Lord, Rob Bulgari. Yeah, I forgot about him. All right, we got Alex. Let me bring Alex. And we got Before the Billions. I'm going to bring Before the Billions up here in a second. But we got Alex. Alex, you're live on the air. Oh, hold on. Let me get you here. There you go. Alex, you're live on the air. What's going on?
JT, what's going on, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for calling.
I had a few things. I don't know if did you get the did you see the chat I sent?
No, I'm a probably circle back on the chat.
Okay, copy.
After I do the calls, I'm a circle back. What's going on?
Something I noticed in all of this is people that's flying under the radar, I would say undetected, stealth mode, that's not getting any of the attention, is the women. Let's not forget about the women in these schemes. Okay. And the roles that they play. Ernestine, Push J, you know, helped them, quote unquote, do the marketing, got paid hundreds of thousands of dollars with no, like you said, with no track record in marketing, branding, etc. And was complicit in that. Right. Nikki, same thing with Greg Parker.
Right.
Nikki was, you know, hands-on with everything. Jenny, same thing with Cesar. And people seem not to talk about them for some reason, but these women, their hands just as dirty as the guys. And I'm just curious to hear your take on that, because I watch a lot of these women on social media, and they're moving like they know that they're not going to get any smoke. And I feel like cracking the women, it would be the easier way to get convictions on all of this, because they're going to break, they're going to fall.
Yeah. I've seen in my professional career, I have seen the federal government go after husband and wife teams, and I've seen them be able to put enough pressure on the wife so where the husband will take all the weight himself, because they take a look at it and they basically say, listen, if you run the risk of taking this all the way through trial, who's going to be the babysitter? Who's going to be the new guardian? Because both of y'all going down. You know, both of y'all going to go down. Your kids are going to be calling someone else mommy. They're going to be calling someone else daddy. one of y'all take the weight. And most of the time, from my experience, the husband takes the weight 100%. They go ahead and they take the plea deal, and the mom stays out there. But they normally try to take as much money as possible. The mom's going to be out there broke, home foreclosed on, but at least they're out on the street. So yeah, that is a good point. We probably, in time will always tell, but we'll probably see some pressure come down on a lot of these grifters who are husband and wife teams. And we'll see the guy take the plea deal, get 5-10 years while the wife stays out of jail. But hopefully a lot of the money and the homes and the assets are, liquidated to try to pay back some other victims. But yeah, that's a good point. It's always a red flag to me when I do see husband and wife teams a lot. And I'm telling myself a little experience here. I'm the product of self-employed parents, right? I've never seen or witnessed my father nor my mother have a 9-to-5 job. Now, saying that, I still want to say most of you under the sound of my voice need to probably have a 9-to-5 job. Being self-employed is a particular skill set. I don't want to say it's harder than something else, but I will say it takes a particular skill set and a particular personality to be self-employed. One's not better than the other. But I'll say that growing up, my parents were partners, but they didn't work together, right? My father would go off and work. My mother would manage the home and manage real estate, because my father would always say this: if I worked all the time with your mother, what would we have to talk about when we got home? How was your day? You know how my day was. You was with me all day. What did you do? You know what I did. It's like my mom would say, I love when he gets out the house and go to work, because that means when he comes back home, we have something to talk about. We got something to do. You need to go away so I can miss you. If you're in your spouse's face all the time, shoot, I don't know how y'all do it. So to me, yeah, that's a red flag. But they need to go after the wives who are culpable, so that they could probably secure some convictions and hopefully some restitution for the victims. Let me bring up a longtime friend of the show, Before the Billions. What's going on, bro?
Hey, JT, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man. What you been up to?
Nothing much, man. I just wanted to appreciate you for having me on. Shout out to you, JT, and also Eli and Tony for talking about this story. A lot of other people I've seen on your platform as well talking about this story, shedding light on this scam and other scams as well, helping out the community. So you asked a question, and I have a question for you. Okay. So your question was talking about what do I think about the Property Brothers, the people that you brought up in the thumbnail. And I do believe that they are related in the sense that the scheme is very similar.
Right.
A lot of people talk about generational wealth, running the play, and it actually changed it to where it's almost a negative thing when you go on social media. A lot of people are like, oh, as soon as you heard running the play, well, now I know that you were trying to scam or something like that. Like, oh, I'm a hustler. And, like a hustler, okay, I'm trying to get, money. I'm trying to work or something like that. I'm working hard. I'm a hard worker. But then when they say hustler, okay, now that might be a red flag.
Yeah.
But so my question is that I know the last time it came up here, and I was bringing up how we have in our community this over-reliance on promoting people who have checkered past or, have been to prison or been to jail. Yep. And you told me that you believe in second chances.
Yep.
And I completely understand your thought process on it as well. But my question is that if you believe in second chances, but then the red flag for, let's say, Cesar in this case is that he was a felon, he went to prison and stuff like that. Should that deter us from letting them handle our money?
Oh, that's a great question.
And then let me just say for me, I would much rather prefer to give my money or have you or maybe Orlando or somebody who is, certified to be able to handle people's money in investments and in taxes.
Yeah. Listen, before the billions, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for calling in. That's a great question. I'm about to answer it. All right, that's a great question. So to be clear, yes, Pocket Watching with JT, Jayson Thornton, certified financial planner. I believe in second chances. I do not believe that if a person makes bad decisions in their life that leads them to jail, prison, being convicted of a crime, I do not believe that this person now should be thrown out from society. They have no use in society. I believe that a person should have the opportunity to learn from their errors and change their lives. I believe that. That being said, I don't believe that you should have a second chance at scamming me. I don't believe that you should have a second chance of committing the same types of crimes that you did in the past. So, for example, someone that I did a video on not too long ago goes by the name of Brother Polite, real name Michael Noak, right? He recently pled guilty to a very heinous crime involving a child, to the point where for the rest of his life, he can no longer be allowed near children unsupervised. I believe even his own children, he is not allowed to be around his own children and every other child in the world unsupervised. This is how heinous of a crime that he committed against a little girl, where his DNA was on this little girl, and the mother of the girl gave such a compelling testimony at his sentencing about what he did, how he schemed and plotted and planned for this, how sick he was. He has to take, I think, therapy classes for someone who is a sexual offender or something like that. Like, this is what Brother Polite, Michael Noak, has to do. Now, I believe he's sentenced for like 7 or 10 years. Then even after he gets out of jail, he's going to be on probation for another 10 or 7 years. And if he commits another crime, he may have to do the full sentence, which would be something like 30 plus years or something like that. Now, when he comes out of prison, I believe he should have an opportunity to live. I believe he should have an opportunity to get a job and work and earn money and be in society. But do I think he should run a daycare? No. Do I think he should be a babysitter? No. Do I think he should be around any child for the rest of his life? No. In fact, I believe he is not allowed to be employed in any type of capacity where he wears a uniform. Why? Because the uniform provides a certain level of authority, and that level of authority could allow him to get access to children in a way that the government does not want him to have. So he's not even allowed to have a job as a security guard, because that uniform may give him access to commit a similar crime than he did before. All right, let me tie it all together now. No, if someone is a former drug dealer, if someone is a person who committed some sort of fraud in the past or anything like that, they will not be allowed to, even like I said, be a bank teller. They should not be around money. Should they cut your hair and be a barber? Yeah, probably. Should they be a tow truck driver? Should they be a carpenter? There's so many other things in life they can do. But to handle your money, absolutely not. They should not get a second chance at that. I do not believe that. If you make that mistake, if you make that error, there are consequences for your actions. I don't care how reformed you say you are. No one should trust you with their money. Point blank, period. All right, let me bring up to the stage. We got El Malik Shabazz. You are live on the air. What's going on?
Yeah, JT, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
I'm not clear. Yeah, I enjoy the show, brother. I love you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you know what? The thing, I think one of the criteria, to me, the logical thing is for anybody to come in front of somebody and ask for money. I think the first thing that people should look at is why they're not successful in what they're presenting. As far as getting, like, I don't understand. Like, if you're a real estate guy and you get money in real estate, like, oh, let me. I don't want to take up too much time. This is my logic. This is, and I know you got the same logic. JT, okay, let's say you really know about that real estate. You really getting money, right?
Right.
You really closing deals. This is JT. Do you? Right. I mean, your mind. You don't think about going on social media telling anybody how great you are with doing real estate because you're too busy actually doing it. Does it make sense?
I don't understand. No, you're on it. Not only would I be too busy doing real estate, I want to maintain what's referred to in economics as a competitive advantage, right?
Exactly.
Many of you probably didn't take Econ 101 in college, but in Econ class, they teach about how you can determine what your competitive advantage is in the marketplace, what you do better than your competition. They teach us to focus on what you do better in your competition so you can maximize your profit margin. If there's something that you don't do to the highest level, you outsource it. You focus on what you do the best. If I'm great at anything, I don't care what it is, I would not be on social media teaching other people how to do what I do because I would be creating competition for myself. The only people who teach the secrets of how they got rich are people who no longer do it. When they no longer do it, it's okay to create clones of themselves because they're out of the marketplace. And most of the time, the reason why they teach you how they got rich is because it probably doesn't even apply anymore. The rules of the game, of the industry may have changed in such a way where that's not even that much of a competitive advantage anymore. So yes, whenever I see someone online claiming, listen, I'm going to make you rich, I'm going to give you the secrets of how you can do this the same way I did it, and it made me a multimillionaire, I'm like, why would you create competition for yourself? No real businessman creates competition for themselves. Real businessmen, the cutthroats, they try to take over their competition. They try to monopolize as much as possible. They don't create competition. So yeah, bro, that's a great point. That is a huge red flag. Most people won't understand what we're talking about because most people, they don't get it. They don't understand that business is a contact sport. Business is trying to beat your competition as much as possible. It's not, hey, everybody, you can get some and you can get some. We don't do that in the real business world. All right, hey, we got Debt-Free Dad in the building. Let me bring up Debt-Free Dad. If you guys watch, I believe, my last video about the PPP loan scammers in Broward County, Florida Sheriff's Department, Debt-Free Dad was in that video with me. We did a collab. So y'all go check out that video. What's going on, Debt-Free Dad?
What's going on, brother?
I'm doing good, man. What do you think about the Property Brothers? Am I off? Am I reaching? Or is there some sort of connection?
Nah, I don't think you're reaching. I think the scheme definitely is consistent. You know what I mean? It's the same really pattern that's going on. One of the things I wanted to touch bases on is I jumped in a little late, but when you were talking about the spouses, and I was like, oh, let me shed some light on how that goes. I've been in this situation thousands of times doing an investigation. You find some wrongdoing. Most times when there's
real quick. Explain to people what you do or what you did for a living, because they might not understand your point of view.
Okay, I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney for about 14 years now. Criminal defense, prosecution, investigations, and my area of expertise is white collar crimes, government programs. So I represented the Ponzi schemes. I threw bank CEOs in prison, all of that good stuff. And so, but typically what happens is you look at target A, so they probably looking at one of these individuals, and during the course of that investigation, there's always a look or inquiry into the spouse if the spouse has some type of exposure. Most times it'll be through bank records or some type of communications. But typically, if an indictment comes out and it targets spouse A and not spouse B, most times that means that everything is set in stone. It means that, there's probably no exposure there, because if there was, it's always best to have both of those indictments come simultaneously, because it puts them under an immense amount of pressure. So that's typically how it works when it comes to spouses. If there is something there, they normally drop those indictments simultaneously, because one, that's more capital they're going to have to get rid of. They're going to probably want the same lawyer, but a conflict is going to be there. So that's two separate lawyers. It just makes it a lot more stressful, but that's normally how you would see it.
Nice. Now, what would happen when you would put that pressure on both spouses? What normally would be the outcome? Would one turn on the other? Would they talk to each other and do a deal and say, okay, I'm going to take the weight and you go? Like, how would that work out in the cases that you handle?
Yeah, very rarely, very rarely do they turn on each other. The only ones who turn on each other are the one who is exes. they always turn, but very rarely do they turn. Normally, what you'll see is it depends. It focuses on two things: if there are children involved, and who has the ability to be the better breadwinner if one person was to go away. So that's what the factor is. Because I've seen cases where both individuals has charges. The wife is there with the children, but the wife has been a housewife for so long. So from a compensation standpoint, this trial, all of this legal resources is going to wear them thin. So in that instance, they was like, hey, I love you, wife, but they agreed that, hey, it's easier for you to sit down for 2 or 3 years. Me, I don't think Mrs. DFD would go for that. But but the alternative would have been what? The wife is out, but she can't come up with a feasible way to provide for the family.
They're kicked out the house. They're living in some
yeah.
That.
So
I mean, 2 years ain't that bad, but the big weight, talk about 15, 20 years.
Oh, no, ain't no woman doing that. Nah, when you talk about big weight like that, it's always the guys who go take that seat.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and real quick before I get out of here, man, I don't know if you saw Cesar's IG live he did out after he made Bond. It was the worst instance of self-snitching that I've ever seen in my life. Words are our trade. You know what I mean? He's on IG Live, and if you go watch it, JT, if I'm charged with fraud, why would I refer to my investors as victims? That's crazy as he referred to his investors as, he was like, no, I'm gonna take care of the victims. He didn't refer to them as investors. He himself referred to them as victims. It was a complete and utter. It was in 12 minutes that I watched it. It was like 3 or 4 admissions, him referring to his investors as victims, him excluding DJ Envy from the civil liability, but not saying anything about the criminal aspect. I mean, he should have just did himself a favor and shut up, bro. But that's all I wanted to touch on, champ.
All right, man. We might have to talk about doing something about that video, man. We got to. I might have to break that one down. All right, we got Lynn, we got Jacoby, we got Jacob. So let me bring up Lynn. Lynn, you are live on the air with Pocket Watcher with JT. What's going on?
And I was just about to say the spouses as well. Yep. Remember the Chrisleys. They both are in prison.
Yeah.
And they did not take their hold. Their attorney did present, hey, can I go? Then she go. The judge said, nope.
Same time.
You go at the same time. And then also Michael Cohen. They put pressure on him. They was going to charge his wife. And then
that was the attorney for Trump, right?
Trump, exactly. Right. So attorney, he went and he said, you know what? All of a sudden, we saw him going to prison. And then after he was released, he said, they was about to charge my wife. So this whole thing of, spouses testifying, there are ways around all of that. So, so don't, if you're dealing with that type of atmosphere in your world, your surroundings might change. So,
yeah, I mean, my thing is, it's just ridiculous. Listen, once again, I'm square. I have no drip. I'm a cornball. But why would you want to live under the threat of being locked up in a cell? Why do you want to live under the threat of losing everything? And the short term of feeling like you're a baller, of feeling like you're on top of the world, you stunting on all these Negroes. I'm sure it feels good for the year or 6 months when you're balling, but you're going to be in jail for much longer. And you're going to be in a situation where you have limited options in life for the rest of your life. I'd rather work a 9-to-5 job, right? I'd rather work a 9-to-5 job. I'm gonna get on my soapbox and then I'm gonna finish these calls real quick because a concept came to my mind, and I say this all the time. Most street dudes think that they're tough. And now I know I'm gonna get a blowback from all street dudes are gonna be in my comments of this video calling me corny. But listen, just sit back and listen to what I'm saying. Most street dudes believe that you are tough because you are in a violent environment. You somehow survived in a violent environment and you're making a way for yourself. You're getting money outside of the legal system. You think you're tough. But in reality, street dudes are the weakest people in society. The weakest. Give me a second to kind of explain what I'm saying. It's easy to break the law. It's hard to be a man who has a family and he works as a janitor and he works 2 jobs and he's working like 16-hour day. Like, that's hard. You know what's easy? Selling drugs is easy. You want to know why I know it's easy? Because children do it. A child can sell drugs because a lot of you so-called hard street dudes, you put kids in the line of violence. You put kids in a situation where they could be hurt or go to jail because they're juvenile, they're not gonna hit him hard, so I'm gonna have the kids on the street selling and I'm gonna be a couple of steps back and the kid will get it. Like, that's how easy it is to break the law. That's how easy it is to be a street dude. Children do it, right? That's weak. What's hard is knowing that you're in a system that's unfair and work through it anyway. Knowing that, yeah, I could make money scamming, but I'm going to work an honest job, and against all odds, I'm still going to succeed. The weakest people in society are criminals. The strongest are the people who recognize this is not a fair race, but I'm still going to run it. And I'm going to try to make it easier for the people behind me. That's hard. That's tough. But hey, y'all going to kill me in the comments anyway, so bring it. I want to hear it. All right, let me bring up Jacoby. Jacoby, you are live on the air with Pocket Watching with JT. What's going on?
Blessings, man, from Portland, Oregon. So one of the things I actually agree with what you just said there. This is going to be something about thinking about things in the future. You know what's more powerful than a credit score is your reputation. If you don't have reputation,
right,
you don't have, you can't do business. Whatever your reputation is, good or bad, is how people are going to perceive you. Now, can you better your reputation with new people? Absolutely. Right. But reputation is irrevocable because once you break that, it doesn't matter if you had a coming to Jesus moment. People are always going to remember what you did, and rightfully so, because because you could possibly do it again. And I would say to Cesar and Jay Morrison, who this other dude is, that he looks like the dude off of Friday. I'm sorry, but may he rest in power. He's lucky he didn't come across a cartel. And I say that because I watch a lot of YouTube about CNG cartels, those cartels down there. He's lucky he didn't come across a cartel and did him crazy, because they like to boil boil them in acid and do all types of crazy stuff for people who get over on people. But you do it to people who are squares. You do it to people who are making an honest living, because you know They don't have that type of mentality. But what if they could? What if they did? You see, you have to look at, somebody could do something to me.
Right.
The best thing to do is don't do people dirty. We live in a system of information now. We have access to a phone now. Before then, we were on Netscape. We had dial-up internet. Now people can just find you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't think Tony the Close don't want to roll up in a white van, smoking a cigar, and just kidnap and putting his scheme out, just bitch slapping folks around? But he ain't gonna do that. But he could.
He could.
I can see it in his face. He wants to. And then you give him a narration. Hey, pocket watchers. This is what happens when we
listen. The funniest thing is, and I'm not going to talk about a personal conversation that I had with Tony 2D, but I've had a personal conversation with Tony when he was upset like that, where he wanted to see people. So it's possible it can be done, but a rational person, and like you said, these guys are lucky that they dealt with people who had calmer heads, who weren't like just crazy violent, because the type of money that they played with, the type of money that they scammed out of everyday people,
most definitely.
Yeah, they could have lost their life easily.
And it doesn't mean that they're off the hook, because see the thing he playing. And look, if you look back at the videos, I can obviously tell it was a scam. Look at the hey, this is DJ Envy, Flipping in J. I'm looking like this don't look right. I'm like, who is falling for this? Yeah. He looks gang goofy.
NJ always he flipping NJ. It like he'd like look away as like he looked like a child that was caught with their hand in the cookie jar.
Yeah,
he looked guilty.
He don't dress the part. He don't articulate what he's doing. And then I was finding videos that they took these folks out to these properties. Yeah, you just put the foundation down and that's it. Okay, listen. Before you even dig up a foundation, you have to get permission from the city.
Permits.
And a blueprint. You have to have a blueprint before you can go to the city. And the city has to say, oh, this is good, this is good, this is good. Then they have to go out to inspect it. So where was all that? I'm just saying.
I'm not that in the corner classes. I don't think they talked about the permits and all that during the corner classes.
Yeah, permits cost more money than you could before you even start breaking ground. So, and it looked like some drug stuff was going up in there. I don't know. I can't confirm that, but
if you go and check out the Star report, he has more information than me, right? Yeah. And from the connections that he's talking about, obviously he shared a post on his community tab about the DEA's involvement in this case. And I'm under the belief that a lot of drug money was being laundered through this scheme with DJ Envy and Cesar Pina and Greg Parker, in my estimation. A lot of drug money was being laundered, and there's going to be more information that's coming. I really do believe we're going to see a whole lot more info coming.
Yeah, and I'll say last thing here. They probably put most of that money into Bitcoin, so you might want to check for that too. So, no, I'm dead serious. I mean, it is still one of the most stable coins, and that's probably what they were doing. They're probably funneling some of that money to that too. So we might want to check that too. And then if they're doing drug money, that means they had been going through the cartels, man. And if they fuck up that money, their life in danger, man. So
we're gonna see.
So
I appreciate you calling in, my brother. Thank you so much. Let me read some of these super chats, and I'm gonna get back to the callers. We got Nove Gaming. I think I'm saying that's it right. It says, JT, you're a YouTuber now. Let's get that set up right. Listen, I still don't feel like a YouTuber, and I know I sound dumb saying that. I know I sound dumb saying this. I'm this close to 100,000 subscribers. I am a corny financial advisor. I come on here to answer your money questions, to laugh at scammer news. I don't really feel like a YouTuber, but I know there's some stuff that I need to do to up my game, to up the production, to get the lighting together. And all. Listen, eventually I'm going to get there, But for right now, you got to deal with me struggle streaming and having some fun, because honestly, I do this in my free time because I enjoy it. The second this feels like a job, I'm probably not going to do it. I can't do it. Hey, let me bring up one of our moderators, longtime supporter of Pocket Watching with JT. We got Jacob. Jacob, what's going on, man?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
By the way, you saw that WNBC did an article about eBay envies indictments on those on YouTube ran at their arrest.
Yeah, I think I read that one. Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, some of it, he's saying that they were partners. Pina and Envy.
Of course, they always listen, man. And thank you, Jay. This is going to be a ridiculous case in my point of view. Yes, they were partners. If they're partners, they made money together. If DJ Envy believes just because the investors did not put money in his hand that he's clean, that's not the case. If you are a partner in this enterprise and Cesar is the one collecting the money and then he pays you your cut, I don't see that much of a difference between the investors giving you money or the investors giving your partner money and then you getting money from your partner. To me, it's functionally similar, but I'm gonna let the attorneys figure that out. But it's going to be ugly. All right, listen, no more callers because I'm going to try to wrap this up. If you're on right now, I'm going to try to get to you. Let's try to stay on topic and we will get through this thing together. Let me read the rest of these super chats for everyone who's supporting. Jay keeps hitting me up. Jay, I appreciate it. Says, if there really is all these drug dealers engaging in an active conspiracy, it makes me think DJ Envy might not be actively involved as well as we may believe. Listen, I've seen a lot of people do dumber things. Some guys just like to feel cool by being around drug dealers. Never forget the swag or the clout that a average everyday guy gets when he's hanging around tough guys and street dudes. It makes them feel like they have this bad boy type of mentality and vibe about them. Your logical mind would say, I'm not even going to hang around criminals and drug dealers. But I've seen squarer guys than DJ Envy get caught up with drug dealers and guys who commit crimes just based off the fact that they make them feel cool and make them feel protected. So I don't know. He could be aware. Let's see. It says, Randy, thank you, Randy. Says, JT is cleaning up the culture. Keep up the great work. The lottery is another scam. Yes, I believe so. Listen, I'm not cleaning up the culture. I'm just a very petty financial advisor that's poking fun at scammers. And hopefully, me poking fun at these scammers are giving you guys some sort of red flag, something to look out for so you do not become a victim. That's what I want. That's what I want for you guys. Yeah, if the coach is getting cleaned up, great. But, I just make fun of these guys because to a square, these guys are corny. You know what's corny? Not being with your family for 10 to 15 and 20 years because you were doing some crime, right? That's corny to me. I couldn't imagine a life where my kids miss me for 10 to 15 years because I was a street dude. That's corny. But, we'll see. Hey, shouts out to Marcus. Marcus says, going to sleep is easy when you're comfortable being a square. Every night, y'all need to Google, what was it? I think his name was Huey Lewis in the news. He had a song called It's Hip to Be a Square. Huey Lewis in the news. I believe that's the name of that. These are the same guy who wrote the music for Back to the Future. He also wrote a song called "It's Hip to Be a Square." It's a good, it's a real song. It's hip to be a square every night. Oh man, all of y'all showing up. I appreciate it. Yvette Marie's 17-month member. Thank you so much for being a member of Pocket Watcher with JT, my platform. Keep up the good work, JT. I'm gonna try. As long as I have 1 ounce of pettiness in my bones, I'm gonna continue to do this work. Godson says millions of blacks with MBAs and finance degrees, and some black folks are giving their money to convicted criminals. Come on, people. Redemption is rare. I know, man. It's like, come on, man. When someone tells you they learned how to pick stocks in prison, when someone tells you that they learned real estate in prison, if they're telling you that they learned this stuff in prison, that's a red flag. There's too many, just like Godsons is saying, there's too many qualified people, qualified black attorneys, qualified black accountants, qualified black advisors. You have so many qualified black professionals, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, all of us. We're here to serve you and not rob you. Go to them first. Leave the criminals alone. Now, can you be robbed and defrauded by a professional who's licensed? Absolutely, you can. The difference is this. If you are defrauded by a professional, there's a good chance that that professional has some sort of bond, or they have some sort of licensing or certifying board that will make them pay restitution to you. These criminals don't. That's a difference. All right, let me see here. We got this is Corin. Is that Corin? I think it's Corin. Super sticker. Thank you so much. Hey, we got my brother, the financial rebel in the business. Listen, go check out his channel. He has one of the smoothest voices of black accountants in the world. Go check him out. He says people want lottery tickets, not real investments in businesses. Of course they do. You, like me, we know that people make many bad financial choices in their life. And their attempt is they want to make one play that's going to make up for all the bad financial choices that they made. It doesn't matter that they're 48 years old, they have $10,000 to their name, they're a few years away from retiring. They want to make one play with that $10,000 that's going to make up for the past 48 years where they did not properly prepare for retirement. And if that means that they have to give their money to some grifter, that's what they're going to do, because they want one thing to make up for hundreds of thousands of bad choices in their life. And it always turns out to be a grift or a scam. Another person y'all need to be subscribed to, my brother, Orlando Minor. Shouts out to Orlando. Says 100K right around the corner. Congrats, bro. Listen, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. You never know what may happen on YouTube. You never know, but I'm hoping that we keep the momentum. We get to 100K. I appreciate it. Me and Orlando have done so many collabs that I honestly, bro, this 100K, like you get some credit for this 100K too, because we've done so many collabs and we have a planned collab in the future here on my channel. And if you go to his channel, we did a collab recently on his channel. Go check that out, Orlando Minor. Shouts out to the Warrior again. I appreciate it. Shouts out to Bam. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And shouts out to A2 Grub. Thank you so much. All right, we're getting back to the calls, and then we're going to wrap this thing up because I'm getting a little tired. So here we go. We got Emmanuel. Emmanuel, you're live on the air with Pocket Watching with JT. What's going on?
How you doing, JT? Can you hear me?
Yeah, go right ahead. It says, are you from Philly? Does that say from Philly?
No, Phoenix.
Okay, it's cut off. I just see a couple of
No problem. No problem. I just wanted to say, it's so crazy that all the people you guys have been putting out there and showing what they're doing. you know, I kind of dabbled in real estate a little bit. And the interesting thing is that one of the hardest thing to find is capital, you know, and these guys have so much capital. And if they just went the legal route and actually bought houses and did what they said they were going to do with the capital they got from these people, they would have been doing pretty good. But they went the illegal route to steal it. It just blows my mind, you know, and it to your point of saying like a criminal, they are lazy.
Right.
You know, they are very lazy. They don't want to do the work because you have to go out there and dig for deals. They're out there, but you have to dig for them. You compete with other people. And it just blows my mind. And that's why shows like yourself and also Tony the Closer, because I've been watching, you know, you guys talk about this for months now.
Right.
You know, and it's important for your shows like this one to educate people that there's little Caesars out there, that not just big Caesars and big Jay Morrisons. There's little people out here running these little scams where they'll get your money. You know, I actually read into that. I'm not going to be long-winded, but I ran into that where somebody, you know, wanted to go to an auction and wanted me to give them money. They were gonna, and I was like, why would I need you to go and pay you to go give you my money to do that, to go to an auction, you know? But this is going on a lot. You know, there are YouTube channels out there that'll teach you about real estate. Do it yourself rather than give somebody your money and just roll the dice that these people are, you know, going to do right with it. And my last point is normally when people, you know, we all have a troubled past. You want to live straight and narrow. You know what I mean? That's what you want to do when you're doing, you know, in whatever impoverished area. And my whole thing is this: when somebody starts off the conversation to you that they are proud of being a criminal, like they're like bragging on that.
Yeah, they're bragging on
that. That's embarrassing. Nobody should, that's a red flag. It's like, if anything, you don't want to say about your past. You want to get as further away from that and live a normal life, or like you say, a corny life. You know what I mean? And I'm proud to be a part of that club. So thank you for doing what you guys are doing. And you guys keep up, man. Keep up the good work, because people need to be educated, man, and know that these scams are out there. So yeah.
Listen, bro, I appreciate you calling in. I want to touch on what you said, because it's a good point. If these guys and girls, if they would actually do what they said they were going to do with the money, they would be successful. I used to think like that, but me and Orlando, and shouts out to Orlando. Me and Orlando had a conversation not too long ago. And I think Orlando convinced me that these people are incompetent. They have to scam. If they had the ability to actually invest the money and produce a return, they would. The reason why they're scamming is because they lack the ability to be able to produce. And this is the easiest way that they can make money. Even if they attempted to do the right thing, they would probably lose money because they're that incompetent. And you know what? I agree with him. He won me over, because it makes sense. Because why not try to do it the right way? Why grift? Why run a Ponzi scheme? Because you are unable to actually produce the return that you're promising. You can't do it. That's why. I'm doing 3 more calls. I know there's more than 3 people here, but I'm doing 3 more calls. I can't do this all night. I got Mark. I got Ace. There's 2 aces, too. That's horrible. There's 2 aces. I got Mark. I got Ace. And I got Candy. I think that's Candy. It's Kadi, K-A-D-I. I think that's it. So let me bring up Mark. Mark, you're live on the air with Pocket Watching with JT. What's going on?
Hey, JT, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Awesome. Look, I'm gonna be in and out. First of all, brother, you're doing a fabulous job. That 100,000 stuff, it's coming. Don't worry about it. So I'm just gonna make some statements. And this isn't targeted towards the victim here, but it's targeted towards to everyone, including myself, because we all at one time in our lives have failed for the okie doke.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yep. And we all have a sense that God gave us that told us, this doesn't really sound right. But that greedy person always seems to sometimes push us over the edge. Okay. So we'll take it to the Bible real quick. The Bible says a fool and his money will soon be parted. Okay. A guy told me a story one day. He said, when a fool with money meets a person with experience, The fool with the money leaves with the experience, and the person with the experience leaves with the money.
Every time.
Who in the heck in their right mind would give a quarter to any of these clowns online, let alone tens of thousands of dollars? We're not talking about $500. We're not talking about 1,000.
Right.
We're not even talking about 5,000 or 10,000. We're talking about 20,000, 50,000, 100,000. Like, are you freaking kidding me?
Is a lot of money to you, right?
Are you kidding me?
Their life savings is $25,000. For another person, their life savings is $250,000.
That's right.
It's still
your $1,000.
Right.
How, in what world, including this one we're living in today, do you even phantom? I don't know those guys. I see them online. I wouldn't give them a quarter. I wouldn't even attend the event. Not impressed at all. I don't care about DJ MB status of a DJ and all of that fame.
Right.
Okay. Who? I mean, you got to go back and ask yourself, as a person that said I invested.
Right.
Why? And this is my last point. I've learned a lot about people who said that they were scammed. And you look at any scams, it always seemed that the person that was scammed was going to get the bigger of the pie. Okay, where are you going to get 30% from? Where? So
in 3 months, in 3
months.
Yeah.
So if it sounds too good to be true, most likely it is. But this was not sounding too good to be true. This was flat out just. I'm gonna keep that one to myself. I gotta go. I don't get it. Thank you, brother.
No, thank you. No, it's a great point. It's a great point. So let me touch the last one first. So, okay, the 30% thing, right? Once again, this is coming from a standpoint of not being financially literate. You don't understand how much 30% is over 3 to 4 months. When you annualize a 30% return for 4 months, that comes out to be about 120% for the year. Okay, let's think about this. Some of the greatest asset managers, investment guys in the world, they are looked at as financial gods if they're able to bring in 15% a year. A god, right? 20%. He's amazing. 120% for the year is unrealistic. Now, compound that with the fact of, why are they coming to you? If they can get 30% in 4 months, why are they coming to you? They can go to a bank and get cheaper money, even in today's environment. In today's environment with high interest rates, let's say you go to a bank and the bank says, we're going to charge you 15%. Okay, that's still better than paying out an investor 30%. Just think for a second, like R. Kelly, use your common sense, right? Why would they give you such a huge return when they could borrow money from banks, credit unions, hard money? They could borrow money at a cheaper rate than your return. Why would that make sense? It's a grift. And to go back to your first point about why would anyone take these guys seriously, I think an earlier caller hit the nail on the head. It's the fact that they're partnering up and being promoted by these platforms. Now, if someone goes on the Breakfast Club, I don't care. I know I'm a financial advisor, though. I know simply being on the Breakfast Club or Earn Your Leisure, $1 million worth of game, you can name any one of them. Simply being on that platform does not make that person qualified, in my mind, to invest my money or to even give me investment advice. But I went to school for this. you have to consider the fact that these platforms get big time guests. They get presidential candidates. They get big time like Fortune 500 CEOs. They get big people on that platform. So one day you have Joe Biden. The next day you have Rabu Gary. And a person who's somewhat naive will say to themselves, well, the same platform who was talking to Joe Biden, now they're talking to 19 Keys. Well, 19 Keys must be a great investment advisor. 19 Keys must know how to help me make money. That's how they think. And that's the reason why they go on these platforms. You know, that's my opinion. All right, let me get Ace. Ace, you are live on the air with Pocket Watching with JT. What's going on?
Hey, JT, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, this is my first time calling in, first time seeing your show. I've heard of you through O'Shea Duke. I watched his podcast or his show, and I heard about you. I caught the show late. I'm calling here from Toronto, Canada, and I caught the show late. The last 15, 20 minutes. I saw Cesar Pina. I think that's his name, or Cesar. Excuse me, Cesar. Right. Sorry. So I saw his IG live the other day. I think a couple days ago, and he said that DJ Envy, don't include DJ Envy. He has nothing to do with this. So just from that take and other stuff that he's saying, do you? I didn't hear your response on that, but do you believe him saying that? Do you believe that there's a possibility that he may be innocent from the majority of the charges?
No, not my personal point of view.
Okay.
Now, most people may be unaware of this, but Cesar Pina has already, I think weeks or months ago, has already produced and made an affidavit. And an affidavit is basically just a statement, right?
Okay,
he made a statement already saying, and this is long before he was arrested. He made a statement saying that, you know, DJ Envy had nothing to do with the investment side of the business, and he shouldn't be in these lawsuits. He made this statement a long time ago. So what he said on that live is basically the same thing that he said in the statement. But here's the issue. An affidavit is only as credible as the person making it.
Oh, wow.
So Cesar Pina has no credibility at this point. So any statement that he's saying, trying to say that DJ Envy is clean and he wasn't involved in this, what does that mean? It has no value. He's the guy who is presented as a fraudster, as a scammer. He's not the one that's going to be able to say, well, on my good honor and on my reputation as being a great businessman, I attest that DJ Envy is a good guy. Like, it doesn't mean anything.
So, I hear you. It doesn't. It basically doesn't hold any. It doesn't hold any weight. I understand. I got you. Yeah.
Absolutely not. And also a little. And thanks for calling in. Also a little bit of self-serving, because DJ Envy has already been reported that he's cooperating with the feds. So maybe he's trying to show his hand to DJ Envy and saying, "Listen, man, I'm trying to keep you, off the hook. So maybe not tell the feds everything about what I was doing." So it's a little self-serving at the same time. So nobody believes what Cesar has to say. Who, come on. At this point, Cesar has no credibility. So it doesn't matter if he says that DJ Envy is clean. All right. I got Kadi. I know I'm saying your name wrong. Kadi. You are live on the air with Pocket Watching with JT. What's going on?
Hey, JT, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
It's Katie. Okay.
Katie. I'm a numbers guy.
Not a
go right ahead.
Guy. All right. So I caught the live when you were doing calls, so I'm gonna go back. Actually, I was watching an old video and I saw you were live, so I missed the whole thing. I found you last week and I have been cackling. But I noticed like a thread with a lot of like the hot tech mumbo jumbo. They all claim to be this super conscious, conscious people, truly conscious people are not fast talkers. They're not trying to like sell you on things. They're not trying to hurry up and come here in this room with me, pay this, this behind this paywall, and I'll give you all the knowledge that you need to be a millionaire. And to do, that's not what being conscious. When you're conscious, you are thinking, you are analyzing. And so they know what they're doing. They're targeting the people who want the quick payday and they want to get on the train and let's go. A lot of these people I've never heard of, so I'm glad I found you. And that's the thread. Like everything is a fast talk, and I've got this, and they're sitting there with these like graphics made, and I'm the king of this. And
don't talk about the whiteboard. If I see a Negro with a magic marker and a whiteboard behind him, I immediately reach for my wallet. Wherever my wallet is, I clench it. Because that whiteboard and that black magic marker is coming out, and at the end of that presentation, they want that money. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's what it is. But thanks so much for doing this. I just started getting into real estate myself, but I read, and I not only read about what I'm doing, I read the laws and stuff. So I'm a reader, and it's funny to come back and kind of watch like what you're talking about, because you make sense, and I can look it up. But these guys. I can't look up what they're saying.
And listen, make sure you go and check out Orlando Miner's page. Let me bring up his info. Orlando, I want to be clear. Me and Orlando have been friends in real life long before we both had YouTube channels. When I vet and support Orlando and tell you this is a great guy when it comes to giving knowledge in real estate, it's real. Like, I personally refer my real life clients of my firm when they have aspirations of building their real estate portfolio. I either literally bring Orlando into the office to have a conversation, or virtually. He knows what he's talking about. He has a great YouTube channel, and he helps people get to know the ins and outs of either getting into real estate personally for people who are renters, or getting into real estate as an investor. So if you're looking for more content on real estate, go check out Orlando Miner's page. Okay.
Thanks, JT. I'll continue watching.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, guys. I mean, that's going to be it for the Pocket Watcher. I appreciate all your support. We're this close to 100K subscribers. I appreciate it. I'm leaving you guys with Mo Money Taxes because you always want to see this video. It's hilarious. I got some more videos coming up, but I'm out. Y'all be safe. It's Halloween. Y'all be safe out there. Have some fun. And let's hear from Mo Money Taxes.
Hi, I'm Mike Evans with Mo Money. Tell me, what do you know about Mo Money?
Brother, all I know is I was there last night getting my taxes done, and today, there's more money all the way. You know what I'm saying?
And how about you?
In here yesterday, back today to get my check. This Mo Money stuff is real. I'm Mo Money for life.
Out of slow money? Well, come to Mo Money, because we about that. Mo Money Taxes, and once again, it's on, and I got the hookup.
Mo Money Taxes. Come down and see us, and you'll be glad that you did. At Mo Money Taxes, you're more than just another number. This year, we're offering our 30-second refunds to go along with our next day refunds. Come down and see us, and you'll be glad that you did.
Continuing saga of Mo Money Taxes. Norfolk police are investigating the tax preparer, and they have alerted the IRS about customers' complaints.
Where's my check? That's the question all of these people want answered.
The IRS is basically verifying to us that our money is here in their bank account.
Friday, crowds gathered at Mo Money Taxes in Norfolk. On Granby Street, owner Mario Brady told us he printed 50 checks and 30 did not clear.
The banks have refused to cash their checks, saying that there is fake. I mean, that is unacceptable.
Federal agents raided the headquarters of Mo Money Taxes in Tennessee this morning.
You may remember 10 on Your Side traveled to Memphis for local Mo Money customers who claimed they didn't receive their refund. We continue to follow another developing story. New tonight, tensions continue to run high as customers wait for their tax returns that they say we're not getting from Mo Money Taxes. You can see the level of anger just a few hours ago at this Norfolk location off Brambleton. Angry customers who say they were promised refund checks and didn't get them broke windows, and police were called to break up the angry crowd.
That's just ridiculous.
Marcus Eves, a former customer who says he filed his taxes with Mo Money in 2007, is worried about what we recently uncovered behind this Mo Money Tax Services location on Elvis Presley.
This is wrong for, files to be out here. This is people's personal information that anybody could have come by and gotten.
Investigators are now looking into the discovery of thousands of documents thrown into 3 dumpsters behind the facility. Shortly after authorities arrived on scene and put up crime scene tape, so did Marky Granberry with Mo Money Taxes.
Normally, we would have all files shredded and shredded or whatever, but we don't throw files in the garbage can.
I asked him what happened and why the documents were not shredded.
Our lease was up on this operation, so I assume the landlord went inside of the location and for whatever reason he decided to throw the files in a dumpster.
You'll have some of our new ones. Give me some regular.
George, you got 1 second? Just want to ask you a question. We're doing a story on tax I'm collecting overdue bills for the city. You notice the number of councilmen haven't paid their water or sewer bills yet.
Cash flow problem.
Is that why you haven't paid yours?
I didn't know it wasn't paid, but
Well, it's about a year since you paid a water or sewer bill. For instance, almost $500.
Long ways from 2,000 I would at one time.
So you say you are paying off your bill?
No, I didn't say that.
But it says here you haven't paid your bill in a year.
That's what you said. I'm not aware of that. No big problem, The city ain't gonna go bankrupt.
Well, don't you think it's a bad example to set?
No, I do not. I don't have the money.
You don't have money to pay a $400 water bill?
I do not have the money, okay? Did you hear me?
Well, in a time of austerity,
Just a minute.
don't you think it's...
How much you owe?
We owe $440.
I do not have the money.
You say you don't have money to pay your bill.
Did you hear me?
But your water's still on, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, don't you think your water should be turned off if you're not paying your bill?
No, it should not be. One of these days, you're going to corner me and I'm going to kick your ass. Okay? And one of the days, you're going to corner me and I'm going to kick your ass.
Well, don't you think that's a legitimate question, George? I mean, you're not the only councilman. You're not the only councilman.
Wait a minute. I gave you a legitimate answer. You asked me about my water bill. What did I tell you?
You said you didn't have the money. But your water's still on, isn't it?
Now, that was my fucking answer to you.
But I don't think everybody has that luxury of having their water
tough shit. Okay, now, one of these days you're going to corner me and I'm going to kick your ass. Now, keep fucking with me, okay? Now, I'm telling you, keep fucking with me. Now, one of these days you're going to grab me the wrong fucking minute. Now, I gave you my fucking answer, okay?
Okay.
We got to meet. Now, I ain't bullshitting with you. We got to meet. Now, you scared him, but I'll kick your goddamn ass, boy. I ain't bullshitting with you. We got to meet. Son of a bitch. Now, you hang around with me if you want. Now, you think I'm bullshitting with you?